In today's video, we're going to be talking about some hidden gems, top established neighborhoods near Winston-Salem. Let's get into the video. My name is Ramon Lomeli. I'm a local realtor and the team leader of the Smart Move Group brokered by eXp Realty here in Winston-Salem, as well as all the surrounding areas. And the reason that I wanted to make this video for you guys today is that I've been noticing that a lot of the people that I've been helping from other states, they're coming to the area, they're liking Winston-Salem, but then a lot of them, they end up, I would say about half of them, they end up buying in one of the surrounding towns that's still super close to Winston-Salem. So for those reasons, I wanted to bring you these established neighborhoods near but not in Winston-Salem. The first town that we're going to be talking about today is going to be highly sought after Clemmons, North Carolina. Now the village of Clemmons is going to be 9 miles west of Winston-Salem. It has been growing rapidly, especially in the last few years, and it has continued to be one of the highest or most desired places to live in the suburbs of Winston-Salem. It used to be kind of a small town, but now honestly you don't even have to leave Clemmons. You've got shopping, you've got dining, you've got entertainment, you've got bars, you've got restaurants. Anything you want to do in Clemmons, you can basically do it. Obviously more options in the bigger city, and it used to not be that way. It used to be that Clemmons was, you know, you might have a couple of restaurants and a coffee shop, but for everything else you had to go into Winston. Clemmons has a reputation for great schools, great parks, and really friendly people. And two established neighborhoods inside of Clemmons that come to mind are going to be Springfield Farms and of course Clemens West, a longtime favorite. Now Springfield Farms, the reason I wanted to add it on this list is because it continues to be one of the most affordable neighborhoods inside of Clemmons. The location is amazing and it's close to both highways, because one of the things that makes Clemmons so popular is the accessibility to both Highway 421 and Interstate 40. Everything that Clemmons has to offer is basically on Lewisville-Clemmons Road. It's one of those towns where everything in that town is just on one road. It's a larger neighborhood with around 300 homes, and it's very quiet and shaded. The neighborhood was established in 1994, and they continue to build homes up until about 2002, with some a little bit newer than that, but mostly 2002 was the end of the massive or the larger amounts of construction in that neighborhood. You're mostly looking at 2-story homes, a lot of 3- and 4-bedroom homes in there. Now, one of the cool things about this Springfield Farms neighborhood specifically is that there is no HOA. However, everyone seems to really have a high sense of home ownership, and they really value that because you can tell they maintain their landscaping very well. Everyone in there does a really good job of maintaining their property, which is, you know, a really good sign of home values continuing to rise. The average home that sold inside of Springfield Farms last year, or I should say in the last 365 days, was about $285,000, which honestly for Clemmons, that is a steal. Like, that's insanely good. When you move to the area, you're gonna be like, wow, under 300 in Clemmons? Now we're gonna move on to Clemens West, which is a neighborhood that everyone knows in the area, everyone loves, and everyone wants to be in, or maybe has already lived in. It's actually a quite large neighborhood, and that's gonna be Clemens West. Not only is the location of Clemens West amazing, it also has a lot of features that other neighborhoods don't have. There are actually several ponds, almost like small lakes, inside of that neighborhood, and a lot of the homes get to brag that they're on the water, and other ones just have water views. So make friends with the people that have access to those ponds, because they actually are allowed to have non-motorized paddle boards and kayaks and canoes and things of that nature out there. There's also a neighborhood pool, picnic areas, and a playground. Now for my HOA haters, Clemens West does not have an HOA, which you'll be glad to know. There is, however, an optional membership to the pool, that if you want to belong to the pool membership, you pay a certain amount of money every year and you're able to access the Clemens West pool. And I love that there's really no cookie cutter type homes in there. They're all different. We got vinyl, we got brick, we got wood, we got stone, 2-story, 1-story. You got some as old as 1970s. Most of them were probably built, I would say the most common part of Clemens West, what people think of when they think of Clemens West, you're probably looking at 70s to 80s construction, you know, that kind of more traditional ranch and 2-story kind of Georgian style, colonial style home. They did build a lot of homes in there up until about 2014, and then they kind of paused, and actually right outside of Clemens West, there's actually some more homes brand new homes going up. So I'm actually not sure if those are gonna be considered Clemens West, but you know, they may just be just outside of Clemens West. Now technically homes in there range from 0.22 to about 2 acres in lot sizes there. However, for my experience and the majority of Clemens West, you're gonna have 0.3 to 0.7 of an acre. So let's just call it like round about half-acre lots. So good space to be in Clemmons, near the city, near the highways, near everything there is to do. And the average home price in the last 365 days inside of Clemens West, well, that's gonna be around $414,000. So honestly, not bad for one of the best neighborhoods or highly sought after neighborhoods inside of Clemmons. Now we're gonna go over to Advance, North Carolina, which happens to be inside of Davie County, which is the next county over. And this town is only about 11 miles from Winston-Salem. This town is actually a little bit more rural, so therefore, and it's in a different, more rural county, so the taxes are gonna be cheaper, but you're still super close and right on the highway from both Clemmons and Winston. It's also known for good schools, and it's very popular for families and for retirees. The way that Advance feels to me personally, it's like a fancier country lifestyle when you live inside of Advance. So you have some, you obviously have some country, some homes in the middle, nowhere, surrounded by cows and crops and things of that nature. But you also have a section, or several sections really, inside of Advance where you have, really nice higher end luxury homes. They might be on the Yadkin River. The Yadkin River runs right through Advance, North Carolina. I'm a big fan of Advance. It's one of the places where me and my wife have often discussed moving to, once the kids go off to school and we don't have to be close to the city anymore. Not that it's far, but convenience wise. But the two neighborhoods that we're going to talk about inside of Advance, North Carolina are going to be Creekwood Estates and Kinderton Village. Creekwood Estates is a charming neighborhood with a lot of trees, a lot of shade, and you often see people walking around, walking their dogs, being friendly. And Creekwood is only 1 mile away from Highway 40, so I mean, it's super convenient to just hit that 801, jump on 40, and be in Winston, be in Clemmons, be in Greensboro, wherever you need to be. It's on the smaller side of a neighborhood, so only about 100 homes. In there, we're talking mostly split foyers and ranch-style homes. You do get some 2 stories or some 1 levels with basements as well, but these are going to be more of the ranch and split level home are going to be the majority there. I do like that typically you're going to get a larger lot, anywhere from half an acre to 3/4 of an acre, so 0.75. And most of the homes inside of Creekwood Estates, now they're going to be built 1975 to about the mid 80s. There are a couple newer ones in there, but vast majority mid 70s to mid 80s. And once again, no HOA inside of Creekwood Estates. Also, the average home price in the last about year or so was about $297,000. So cheap home prices, no taxes, no HOA. It's going to be a good, you're going to like that monthly payment, I'll say that much. Now on to Kinderton Village. Kinderton Village is a bigger development with a certain type of aesthetic, and everything is so well taken care of inside of Kinderton Village. They got single family homes, your typical single family homes. They've got carriage homes, townhomes, and condos. Construction inside of Kinderton Village started around 2001, and they've continued to build up until about 2020. Most of the neighborhood has sidewalks, there's common areas, there's quaint streets with beautiful tree-lined views. The neighborhood has sidewalks, there's quaint little details all over the neighborhood. There's actually, you got plenty of sidewalks to walk around, walk the dogs, and other amenities including like little squares, gazebos, things of that nature. The neighborhood has a clubhouse, a pool, and green spaces throughout. And Kinderton Village is actually right off of Interstate 40, so once you get out to the main road, 40 is right there. You're not going even a 1/4 mile. On the negative side, some of the homes that are closer to Interstate 40 inside of that neighborhood, you might get some road noise whenever you're outside. Inside the home, you don't even see it, but Kinderton's so big that you're not going to hear it at the beginning or the start of Kinderton, but closer to the highway, you might hear it a little bit. There is an HOA, however, it is very minimal, about $65 a month. And on average, in the last year, the average home inside of Kinderton Village sold for about $368,000. Next, we're going to talk about another favorite town in the Winston-Salem area, which is going to be Kernersville, North Carolina. Kernersville is going to be one of Winston-Salem's largest suburbs with about 27,000 people for its population. Kernersville is also very popular because of its location. It's right outside of Winston-Salem, so it makes getting to Greensboro a lot quicker, and High Point is right there. So if you like that triad living, meaning you have options, you have 3 different cities to go shopping, dining, entertainment, whatever you need, Kernersville is right in the middle of it, so it's very convenient. It is small, but there's a couple really nice restaurants, a couple bars. They even have a botanical garden area too, which is really nice. So definitely things to explore and do in downtown Kernersville, but it is smaller. 2 notable neighborhoods that are established inside of Kernersville are going to be Abington and Salem Crossing. Salem's Crossing is really popular. One of the reasons is that it's right across the street from Caleb Creek Elementary. The neighborhood itself is around 100 homes, and homes in there were built from about 1990 to about 2000, so just about that decade there. You have a lot of traditional 2-story vinyl wrapped homes inside of this neighborhood. 3-4 bedrooms, but you're typically getting 1/4 to 0.3, 0.4 of an acre, so not very large lots mostly. There is an HOA, it's $250 per year, and it helps maintain the playground and the neighborhood. In the last year, the average home price inside of Salem Crossings is going to be $327,000. So for Kernersville, that's actually not too bad. Now we're going to talk about the neighborhood called Abington inside of Kernersville, North Carolina. Abington is definitely going to be a well-known neighborhood inside of Kernersville, and it's established, and a lot of people like to live there, and we don't see a lot of turnover for the size of a neighborhood. So people that usually get into that neighborhood usually stay there for a very long time. Several hundred homes in this neighborhood from way back in the mid-1980s till about 2019, 2020. Most homes in there are going to be 3-4 bedrooms. Most of them are going to be around half-acre lots, and most of them are going to range in square footage from 23 to 2,700 square foot. So good sized homes in there. A lot of them actually have basements as well. Sometimes they finish the basement, so that could add some square footage if that's what you're looking for. One thing I like about this specific neighborhood, Abington, is that it's a very wooded neighborhood. So honestly, even though you might have a half acre or 3/4 of an acre or something, you still don't feel like you're a neighborhood oftentimes because you've got trees to the side of you, got trees behind you. So it really feels like you're out by yourself, even though you are in a neighborhood. And another great reason for living in Abington is that there's no HOA, and it's rare to see neighborhoods of this caliber with no HOA. There are very nice homes in there, so you would expect to see an HOA. There is none. Everyone still takes care of their landscaping as of now. There is also Abington pool membership that you can sign up for if you wanted to. Not required, completely optional. The average home price inside of Abington over the last 365 days was about $363,000. So honestly, not bad for what you're getting inside of that neighborhood. And I think for the right people, this is going to be like the best neighborhood on today's list. Next, we're going to talk about the town of Lewisville and two amazing neighborhoods that you don't want to miss. Before we jump into that though, I do want to remind you that if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, the number on the screen, that's my personal cell phone. It's right here. It goes to no one else but me. If you want to chat about moving to the area, feel free. I'm going to leave some awesome links, some helpful links for you guys in the about section of this video. Every one of these towns is going to have a link so you can see homes in those towns, as well as every single one of these neighborhoods that we're talking about. I'm also going to include my social media handles in case you want to be my friend on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. Now, I don't put my social media handles out there just to have more friends, although that does help, but I do a lot of social media short form content about the Winston-Salem area. So if you're looking for restaurants, things to do, you can often find most things on my TikTok, on my Instagram, or my Facebook. And lastly, I know it's kind of long, I'm gonna make it quick. Lastly, huge favor to ask of you, hit that like button, leave me a comment like where you're watching this video from, but above all, subscribe, because honestly, those kinds of things, honestly, they keep me motivated to keep pumping out these videos for you. All right, enough of that, let's get back into it. Lewisville is a quiet, small town that's about 10 miles away from Winston-Salem, and it's getting more and more popular, it seems like, every day. Things that you might notice when you're driving through Lewisville is that there's a lot of mom and pop businesses, not many chains at all inside of Lewisville, so it still has that homey, Anytown, USA kind of vibe. Lewisville city government is adamant about protecting Lewisville's small town charm. Two notable neighborhoods inside of Lewisville are going to be Shallowford Lakes and Sequoia Place. Shallowford Lakes is one of my favorite neighborhoods in Lewisville. This neighborhood is going to be a great option for someone that enjoys being in a neighborhood, but also enjoys like that rural feeling, the out in the middle of nowhere, that nature feeling. The neighborhood actually has about 200 homes inside of it, and it really feels like there's a lot of uniqueness. There's not a lot of copy and paste type homes in this neighborhood. You also have a lot of wooded areas in between and all throughout that neighborhood, so it doesn't really feel a lot of times like you're in a neighborhood. The neighborhood actually has 5 fully stocked lakes and abundant wildlife for kayaking, canoeing, fishing, and just, you know, nature loving, I guess. Once again, there is an optional membership if you want to belong to the Shallowford Lakes pool. That is a competition size pool, and they've got lifeguard out there, so it's going to be a little pricier. And there is a small HOA here, about $300 a year, and it helps kind of take care of the lakes and take care of the common areas in this neighborhood. There are basically no small lot inside of Shallowford Lakes, anywhere from half acre to about 2 acres. Most of them are going to be closer to that half to full acre size. You have 3 to 5 bedroom homes usually, and the square footage honestly ranges from like 1,600 on the smaller side to about 3,500 square feet, so on the larger side of homes as well. There are many different types of homes inside of Shallowford Lakes, but usually you have ranch, contemporary, traditional, and Tudor. Sequoia Place has an amazing location because you're technically inside of Lewisville, but you're right there on the border with Clemmons. So you have access to the small town charm and all the local shops inside of Lewisville, but you also have the access to Clemmons and Lewisville Clemens Road and all of the massive businesses that are there and are coming to the area. You're also close to 421 right there, like it's maybe a couple miles away, but also Interstate 40 is right down the road. There are over 100 homes inside of Sequoia Place from about the late 1980s to the early 2000s is when they were built. The average home inside of Sequoia is gonna be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,800 square feet, but they do vary in size. Typically smaller lots there though, you 0.23 to 0.4, usually there are some larger ones, those are abnormal. Most of them are gonna be quarter to half an acre, probably leaning towards more a quarter-acre lot. Once again, no HOA, which is awesome. Side note, I noticed that a lot of my people coming here, one thing they all have in common is no HOAs, which is great because we have so many neighborhoods without HOAs here. The newer ones though, we're seeing that most of them are having HOA. If you want to stay away from HOAs, go a little bit older. In the last year, the average price that homes sold inside of Sequoia Place was about $286,000. So quite affordable for Lewisville, quite affordable for Clemmons as well. Chugging right along, we're gonna talk about Pfafftown, North Carolina. Pfafftown, some people call it Pfafftown. Not for that reason, but Pfafftown, Pfafftown. I used to call it the Pfaff. Anyway, Pfafftown. It's a small town that borders Winston Salem on the west side. Now the downside of Pfafftown is that there's not a lot of businesses in the area. There's not a lot of things to do, but you're so close to Winston that you might as well just come to Winston for anything you need. It's known to be very rural and moves at a slower pace than Winston Salem, which is saying a lot because Winston Salem, compared to other bigger cities, is already slow. One of my favorite established neighborhoods inside of Pfafftown is going to be Grandview, and this neighborhood is going to be great for someone that enjoys being in a subdivision, but also enjoys that kind of country lifestyle. The neighborhood itself is about 200 homes, and you're mostly looking at ranch-style properties. The neighborhood is shaded and has a very calm feeling to it. Most of the homes in there are going to be 3 or 4 bedrooms. You do have some 5-bedroom homes. Also, the lot is 0.2 to 0.8 usually is what we're talking about. You do have some beautiful waterfront properties inside of Grandview as well. However, the lake is not a common area, so you're going to have to figure out who owns it, and there is no HOA controlling it. The average price home inside of Grandview in the last 365 days was about $322,000. So you can still find a quite affordable home inside of Pfafftown, right in the general location of Winston-Salem. So that seems like a great price to me. And finally, I'm going to leave you guys with the town of Rural Hall, which isn't as rural as it used to be. It's growing quite rapidly. The town has a small population, but honestly, it kind of merges into the university area of Winston-Salem. So sometimes it's hard to tell when you're in the university area or when you're in Rural Hall, because everything is kind of growing in that area quite rapidly. So if you like the rural setting with city amenities, going back to Winston, this is going to be a town that you're definitely going to want to consider. It is, like I said, growing quite rapidly, and it is right on the highway, so getting in and out of it super quick. One of my favorite neighborhoods, and I've actually sold quite a few properties inside of Rural Hall, it's actually quite affordable. It's called Bidding Hall. There are about 200 homes inside of this neighborhood, built from anywhere from 2007 to about 2020. And I've actually sold brand new homes in there, and I've sold resale homes in there. Most of them are gonna be 3 or 4 bedrooms. Now, most of the homes are gonna be vinyl. You do get some brick every now and then, but I think a vast majority of them are gonna be on the vinyl. You don't get a lot of land in this neighborhood, only about 0.14 of an acre. Now, there are homes in Rural Hall that have tons of land, acres and acres and acres, tens of acres. But for this neighborhood specifically that I picked, 0.14 is the average lot size. So this is definitely going to be a subdivision, a neighborhood. There is a very small HOA of about $17 a month that helps cover the common areas and the road maintenance of that neighborhood. But the reason I wanted to add this neighborhood to today's list is that the average price is about $258,000. With that proximity to Winston-Salem, with that style of home, with that square footage, I mean, the price per square foot is huge in there. You're getting a ton of value. That's why I wanted to make sure that I added it in this list. You know me, guys, I'm all for selling you the higher end properties, but if I can save you some money, I'm gonna do just that. With that being said, that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, once again, I gotta plug myself. The number on the screen, that's my personal cell phone number. So right here, it goes to no one else but me. Don't forget about the awesome links I left in the about section of this video. That's gonna contain homes in every single one of these neighborhoods that we spoke about, including the towns as a whole, as well as my social media handles in case you want to be my friend on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I post a lot of local content, restaurants, things to do, all kinds of stuff on there, so make sure you check that out. And lastly, before you leave, before you go click on one of my competitors' videos that's probably being recommended, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, leave me a comment, but above all, subscribe. That really honestly keeps me motivated to keep setting up all these lights in this camera and doing all this research for you to keep you guys informed about the Winston-Salem area. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.